Of course, we're back with FEG Entertainment. We're so happy that you're sticking around because we have some great information for you. And Chris, if you want to go ahead and leave with the next questions.
Ms. Mathis has been so involved in public affairs in the city of Atlanta and met so many important figures. Can you kind of just give us your experience, your life experiences dealing with Atlanta politics and people in the civil rights movement?
My very first experience with Atlanta politics was Michael Thurman, helping him campaign over in Athens. We actually practiced law together for a few years and helping to run his campaigns in 82, 84, 86. And what people didn't realize is that he lost the first 2 times he ran. But he's very determined and very smart. Then later on, I had the privilege of working with Andy Young when he ran for governor. And I ran the Northeast Georgia campaign for Andrew Young. And what was interesting about that, Ambassador Young did not win the governor's race. He only won 2 counties. He won Fulton, and he won Clark over in Athens, where I was. And so I was very proud that we were able to carry Athens for Andrew Young. And of course, he's very gracious. I think if there's one person that emblemizes what Atlanta is all about, more than, and if you had to, it would be Maynard Jackson. I didn't know him personally. We had one telephone call, I think, where I was just trying to get some advice from him, really just trying to get to know him. But I would read about him in the paper, read about him in the AJC. And of course, I was in Athens at that time, go try to imitate what he was doing in Atlanta, in Athens, which was like having a mentor at a distance. But you can have a mentor at a distance if it's a person that you admire what they're doing. But Maynard made a proposition that has set the course for the entire United States when it comes to corporate diversity and government spending. If we pay taxes here, and we live here, and we use these services, we deserve a level playing field to get some of this business and these jobs.
Yes.
A simple do unto others as you would have them do unto you proposition. But it was very foreign in the early 70s when Maynard Jackson started to espouse that. And there's been a fierce legal reaction against it ever since. Every time the Supreme Court reviews a so-called affirmative action case, they either leave it like it is or they further restrict affirmative action. And I don't think the general public understands that. You'll hear people talking about, we need to go back to the way it was when Maynard was here. Maynard couldn't go back to the way it was when Maynard was here, because the law has changed so much. And that goes right to, are we voting? Do we understand the issues? Can we elect governors and state representatives who are on our side?
Right.
And then of course there are people like John Dale Johnson, who I've been privileged to be compared to. I didn't know her either, but I read about her. And people talked to me about her. They said she was tough and funny and demanding and effective. And I wanted to be all those things. So anytime somebody would say something to me about John Dale Johnson, of course she was the director of the NAACP in Atlanta for years and years and years. Very highly respected. I remember that Joseph Lowry, a couple of things about Dr. Lowry. And Jesse Jackson says that Joseph Lowry was the smartest person in the civil rights movement. So to me that's a high compliment. I asked him one time, what is the essential characteristic of leadership? And I sort of had my own idea about it. And I guessed right, it's courage. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the cutest. But you do have to not be scared.
Yeah.
Because the forces that come against you are not afraid. And so you have to be willing to speak truth to power. One time we were in a meeting, I think it was at Pascal's. And I was new in town. And he called on me to pray. Now, I'm a Christian, but I don't do much public praying. But I'm also raised Methodist, and he was Methodist. And I know that in the Methodist church, when somebody asks you to pray, you are supposed to immediately stand up and say, let us pray. And so I did. I was a little intimidated, but I think I passed his test because I think he wanted to see what was I made of. And he was a friend and a mentor from that day until this. People talk about Atlanta being tough. Atlanta is a tough town. But people are not moving here from all over the world for nothing.
Right. Right.
Atlanta's got tremendous assets. The one thing that concerns me, I hope we never lose our interest in the less fortunate. We're doing pretty well. We're either first or second most affluent Africans in the world. Either PG County in Maryland or Fulton DeKalb County in Georgia are the wealthiest, most prosperous, most highly educated Negroes in the world. But what made us that way was a sincere responsibility for taking care of the next generation and those who were less fortunate. If we ever lose that, then we're in trouble.
We have a lot of folks my age, younger, who watch our shows.
Sure.
And what would you say towards young people in political engagement? Like, it seems just in the country there's kind of a disengagement from politics across all ages a little bit. Can you just kind of
Well, one
speak on
thing we
that?
know for sure is that when folk feel like they have something at stake, they will vote. In spite of what Black Lives Matter says about we're not going to vote, we're not going to play the political game, they're trying to make a point,
Sure.
which I get. That is not a majority view. That's okay, because they're making a point. But when Barack Obama ran in 12, and they said they were going to require voter IDs and people weren't going to be able to vote, and blah, 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 what did we do? We went and got them IDs, and we outvoted everybody else around us because we felt we had something at stake. It was worth it. So now then the question becomes for those who would lead people into political engagement, how can I make them feel as if it's worth it?
Yes.
What can I say? What can I demonstrate? Barack Obama is a personality. He's a cool dude, looks good in sunglasses, can sing, and okay, so we love him and he looks like us. So we want him in office. But isn't it just as important that we do something about hyper-incarceration?
Yes.
School to prison pipeline? Judges that give out time like it's candy canes? Isn't that just as important?
Right.
Fixing Social Security so that black men don't have to live until they're 75 or 80 in order to get it.
Yes.
Or reducing the stress on them so they can live until they're 75 or 80. I think somehow we've got the percent. That's why I like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, Black Votes Matter. We are putting a lot of emphasis right now on police misconduct. I went to Haiti with Joe Beasley not too long ago. That's another hero of mine, Joe Beasley. In Haiti, it's very mountainous. The wealthy people live on top of the hill. And at about midway down the hill, there's armed guards with Uzis and fences with barbed wire to keep the poor people off the top of the hill. There's an analogy that can be made to our society. If you're talking about income inequality, the rich getting richer, the middle class disappearing, and the poor getting poorer. The police are merely the security guards who are keeping the poor people from going to the top of the hill. The people who are giving them orders wear black robes and sit in courthouses. They are in governor's offices. Ain't no police officer in Charleston, South Carolina took it upon himself to shoot down a man who was running away from him, unless and he knew a camera was running, unless he was assured that the people he worked for would be okay with it. Now, whether that's the police chief or whether that's the Grand Dragon or the Ku Klux Klan, we don't really know. But I suspect that our police have been turned, infiltrated by some of these right-wing forces that believe we've done enough of this black stuff. And so while we focus on police misconduct, we got to focus on the people who hire the police and set their salaries and create their pensions, the people who hire them to keep the rest of us in line. Does that make any sense to you? And those people are all elected officials. From the prosecutor. Other thing I tell my clients, when we go into, I still do a little criminal defense every once in a while. You go in a courtroom, everybody in there is making $40,000 a year except the person that I'm representing. The bailiff, the court reporter, the judge, the stenographer, the janitors even. Everybody in there getting paid. You the poorest person in here, and you and your grandmama doing the paying.
Yes.
If you can sell drugs, which is poison sent from hell by the devil, you can sell refrigerators or cars or shoes.
Yes.
It's just a matter of preparation. So what I would say to young people, prepare. You don't want to make minimum wage, don't have minimum skills. You don't like school, find some other way to get educated. The only way not to be played in a system like this is to prepare yourself. Learn something. Be indispensable so that you can't be played.
It's a lot to digest there for us.
We could be here all day,
Absolutely.
of course, but we're going to come back. We have one more segment.
Okay.
Because I do have questions about this political arena that's going on, so we'll be right back.